was giving me the runaround.
I got you. Okay, that's a very good point. Thank you so much for that, caller, and I hope we answered that question. Okay, she said she has an answer. Don't keep listening because we're going to talk about it a little more. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Now, as to the caller's point with the banks and sending stuff in and not sure if it's documented and you're not sure if they're getting it, dealing with the counseling agency, we have now what they call as Hope Loan Port. The banks have signed
Hope Loan
Port. So the banks have signed up and agreed with counseling agencies. If we use the system, we put the information in for the borrowers into the system, they will check it within 48 hours and let us know, one, they've received it. So we're able to get back to the client and let the client know that your documentation has been received by your lender, servicer, bank, and you will have a decision by X amount of time, because that's the answers that they give us. With the counseling agency, they're required to respond to us if we're using the services and the system that they requested.
Outstanding. Just as a point, the young lady also said about a fax. Most of us have gotten caught up in this email and the computer world and forgot that one basic piece of equipment that we all need to have in our houses, because businesses, agencies still require a hard piece of paper. And the best way to get it to the right place is to fax it. That way you have a record of it, that it was faxed, they have a record of it, you have a copy of what you sent out, and it works that way. Am I right on that one?
That does.
Okay. All right, caller, I hope that we answered that question for you, and thank you for bringing up those points. That was very, very, very good. That was a good question.
That was. She asked about house values as well.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on that a little bit.
Go right ahead, yeah.
When it comes to the house value, if you get a modification, and modification could mean a lot of things. It could be repayment of your mortgage on a repayment plan. It could be that your interest rate was reduced. So now your payments are affordable, but your principal or what you owe on the balance is still the same. Or you could have gotten a principal reduction of what your principal mortgage was, thus making the value a little bit higher. And now what you owe seemingly is lower.
That would apply to people that were underwater, as they say, too.
As they say sometimes, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, because there's a lot of folks in that circumstance, and I know that, a lot of us have heard the term underwater and don't really understand what that means. It means you bought a house at a particular price during the rush, during the heydays of the 90s and et cetera. You found out after the fact that the house is not worth that much. In other words, you cannot borrow against the house at the amount that you thought you had in it.
That's correct.
All right, and that's a trap, and it's something you have to be very aware of. So from what I'm hearing, Ms. Smith, I think you and your agency should be getting very busy.
That's good.
All right.
Because it's not enough calls coming in to be able to assist with these different things, especially answering questions and giving information.
You should do some PSAs.
Okay. Sure will.
Yeah, do some PSAs and put them out, put them on the radio, put them on TV, because the general public needs to know more about this.
They do, and these banks that have agreed to come to Richmond, Virginia, November the 10th.
10th, yeah.
Some of these banks have never been to Richmond.
Where's it going to be?
It's going to be at Trinity Life Center on Deal Avenue.
Deal Avenue.
And it's called Empower Yourself Against Default.
Okay, November the 10th, Empower Yourself Against Default. Okay, you got that? Write a note, tell your friends. You got, like this young lady that called up. If you know someone that's in that situation, pass the word on to them. Let's make everybody get a little bit more comfortable.
Yes.
We covered a lot that fast. You want to add something to it?
Well, one of the questions or one of the things we were talking about was you asked me about the reverse mortgages.
Yes.
Okay, and reverse mortgages, I would say, they may not be for everyone, but I would say if you have one or you're looking into getting one, again, you're required to take housing counseling before you enter into that loan product. Please ask that counselor questions, ask more information. If you're not sure and you don't understand, you're not clear, make sure that you ask that question, because they're willing to help and provide the answers you need to make sure you make the correct decision.
So that's what you're there for, and you
That
seem
is
to be
correct.
doing a job. Now we're going to change gears a little bit. We're going to switch from the housing that you talked about, education-wise. Now we're going to go to education. And I think that our next guest that was very fortunate to get here through all that traffic that's out there on 95, I got stuck in it also. But we're going to do a little talking about something that I think needs to be talked about a little bit more, and that's about what's happening with our school systems and how we can help make it better. And one of the main ways to make it better is make sure that we have the right people on the school board. So we have a young lady here. Once again, I met the other night. That was some meeting the other night that we had. And we have another young lady here, Miss Epps, is it?
That is correct.
That then running for,
I'm running for school board in the 9th District.
and why should we vote for you?
Vote for me? Okay. Why should you vote for me? You should vote for me because definitely I'm an advocate for all children. I believe in a just educational system. And what I mean by that is that we've got to have a free and public education system here in the city of Richmond that embraces all children from all communities.
What would you change that's happening now? Forgive me, maybe some folks out there don't know where your school district is located. I don't.
The 9th District is central, south side of Virginia, off Hull Street. We border broader.